Okay, this is UFC 144 predictions. They're in Japan this time. We got a pretty hefty card here. We've got about looks like about seven fights here on this card, on the main card. It looks really, really good. They're trying to make a big impression in Japan, trying to get that same pride feel, but with not so with more rules, I should say. But let's get started with it, and we have Anthony Pettis versus Joe Lauzon. Everyone knows that both of these guys, they really put on some good fights. You have Pettis, who is famous for the kicking off the cage. Lauzon, he's really good at submissions. But both of these guys, I can see fight of the night with both of these guys putting on a great, great show. I don't know. Sometimes you call a fight of the night and it becomes a boring fight. But I just really don't see this fight being a boring fight. Pettis is probably the faster of the two. Lauzon, has really good submissions and probably better on the submission end. But I really see this fight being a stand-up fight. Neither of these guys are big on wrestling per se. Anthony Pettis, that was kind of his weakness when he went against Clay Guida. Guida just pretty much out-wrestled him the whole match. But I don't really see this. I really see this one as a stand-up fight. And I see Anthony Pettis probably getting the better of Lauzon on this one. So I have him winning by decision. And there you go. Then we have Hayoki versus, excuse me if I chopped this guy's name, Bart Palazowski. In this fight, I would say that Hayoki is pretty much he's on a good run here, and I could see probably the winner of one of these two guys, since there really isn't anyone on the horizon to go against Aldo. They're trying to find someone for him to go against. So I could really see maybe one of these two guys going up against Aldo. But in this fight, I would say Hayoki probably would have to use his range and not let Palazowski get inside. If it goes to the ground, I would say that I believe that Hayoki has a really good chance on the ground, and that I really wouldn't be, if he got on the ground like, oh, he's just going to get run over. But I do feel that he's a lot more comfortable on the ground than Bart. So in this one, I would say Hayoki winning this one by third round submission. He's going to get him on the ground and get the submission. Okay, so let's go into the next one. We got Okami versus Tim Boetsch. This is an interesting fight because we know Okami, I believe he's coming off of his loss against Anderson Silva. And then we have Boetsch, who is, he's a powerful middleweight. He's had a couple of impressive wins. But I just don't think that he's, on the levels of Okami. Okami is an excellent wrestler. He trains with, I don't know if he does anymore, but at one point he trained with Chael Sonnen, so he has really good wrestling. And I just really don't see Boetsch really going in there and throwing bombs and doing everything that he wants to do to Okami. I see Okami pretty controlling this fight, taking it to where he wants to take it, and grinding out a decision. He just will definitely control this fight, and if he gets him on the ground, he gets him on the ground. If he gets him against the cage, gets him against the cage. But just tire him out and grind on him, grind it out, just like any wrestler that you see does. They just grind you out until you just get exhausted. And I see him doing that with Tim Boetsch. So I have Okami winning this one by unanimous decision. Okay, then we have Akiyama versus Jake Shields. Well, we know Akiyama is, quote unquote good fighter, which he is. He's a decent fighter. He hasn't really had too much of a good of a run in the UFC. Everyone he's gone against, his cardio has been really the issue. He gets tired really quickly. He is a big guy, but he just gets tired so quick, and gets finished off in when the Chris Lieben fight. It just goes on and on how just dead tired the guy gets. He just his cardio is not really there. Then you have Jake Shields, who lost to Ellenberg, and he's just not. I think he's on a 2-loss streak here, trying to get back into contention here. And this is really a good fight for him to get back into contention here. Akiyama, you never want to say it's an easy fight, but he just can beat the guy on cardio. All he has to do is stay busy and do what he wants to do as far as, running around, get him on the ground, roll, just do a bunch of stuff to really tire Akiyama out, and then you can just really pick him apart from there. And we know Jake Shields does a lot of wrestling, or, is pretty decent at wrestling, and, his ground game is excellent. His striking really isn't there. I mean, I believe Jake Shields has like pillows on his hand or something, but but he definitely can outgrind you when it comes to the wrestling and getting you on the ground and doing what he needs to do. I mean, that's what he's known for, which is his ground game and submission game. So, but on the other hand, too, Akiyama, you have to realize that this guy is a judo guy, and his takedowns are excellent, but can a guy really do judo if he's dead tired and his muscles are screaming for oxygen, And that's the problem I see with Akiyama. Akiyama is going to tire out, and Jake Shields is going to finish him in a submission in the second round, I believe, And that's how I have Jake Shields winning by submission, second round. Then we have Mark Hunt versus Czech Congo. Mark Hunt is a guy who's going to go in there and throw heavy bombs. Czech Congo is a guy who can throw bombs also. He's a little bit more versatile than Mark Hunt is. We've all known Mark Hunt has been around for a while, K1, good kickboxer and whatnot. And Czech is a great kickboxer also too. But just as a more well-rounded fighter, I'm going to give it to Czech Congo. I believe Czech Congo is going to go in there and slip him on the ground and pound, because that's his best bet to an easy win with Mark Hunt. Get him on the ground, which will be the hard part. Get him on the ground and then ground and pound him, and that's what I believe Czech Congo is going to do. It makes no sense to stand up with the guy who's been in K1, who has extremely heavy hands. You do not want to go to sleep. So, you try to get inside, grab him against the cage, and drag down. And then from there, the guy is like, fighting a toddler. His ground game is pretty non-existent. It kind of reminds me of Pat Barry. When you get him on the ground, it's pretty much done, especially if you can hold him there and do what you want. So I have Czech Congo winning this one in the second round by TKO. So then we have Quentin Jackson versus Ryan Bader. I was kind of debating on this one because Rampage is kind of going down in my books, only because I don't see him really get another shot at the title without changing his style. Everyone knows his style is the brawler style, the boxer style. He wants to go in there and throw hands, and I get that. Big on wrestling defense, But with the guys that are above him in his weight class, in this division, he has to be a little bit more versatile to actually be able to beat those guys. But he's going against a guy who's pretty one-dimensional also in a sense. Ryan Bader, who is primarily a wrestler, who has heavy hands because he's a big guy, but doesn't throw very well striking. He's a slow striker. He's, not saying all wrestlers are slow strikers because it's not true, but in this case, Ryan Bader is the typical wrestler who's trying to learn how to strike. Slow striking, but extremely explosive when it comes to wrestling. But we all know that Quentin Jackson has extremely good takedown defense. He's ready, and Ryan Bader has like a suspect chin. So with that being said, with the experience level of Quentin being, fighting in Japan previously in his Pride days, Ryan Bader's his first time in Japan, and Quentin Jackson having more experience and great takedown defense, which Ryan Bader is going to try to do. The stand-up obviously goes to Quentin Jackson. I have Quentin Jackson winning this one by knockout, I would say. In the I'm gonna go second round on this one. Was gonna go third, but I just think that he's gonna be able to control Ryan Bader from doing the takedowns and force Ryan Bader to stand up, and he's just gonna counterpunch Ryan Bader with a right and catch him straight on the chin, and that'll be it. So then we have the main event, which is Frankie Edgar versus Ben Henderson. Now, guys, I was debating on this one too because I truly believe Frankie Edgar's kryptonite is a wrestler, But I know you guys thinking like, man, well, didn't you learn your lesson? You went against, he just went against a wrestler. And I forgot the guy's name, Gray Maynard, but and it didn't work. The wrestling didn't work. He has great defense, and I do agree with that. He has extremely great wrestling defense. Obviously, we all know his boxing movement is just superb. His footwork, and everything is just extremely fast paced. A lot of energy. Both of these guys have excellent cardio. I mean, Ben Henderson has excellent cardio. Ben Henderson is also going to try to do this wrestling thing. I would say he's a little bit faster than Gray when it comes to shots and things of that nature. But what's the name is just so fast when it comes to protecting against the shot and hitting you when you're coming in for the shot, making you pay for the shot, making you not want to go in for another shot. Frankie Edgar is. And at first I was really saying, yeah, I think Ben Henderson can take it, but I just don't. I just look back to the Pettis fight with Ben Henderson. Ben Henderson going for shots and this and this and that, and the faster guy ends up winning. And I feel like that's what's going to happen with Frankie Edgar. Edgar is just going to be the faster guy on the feet, and avoid takedowns, avoid getting pushed up against the cage, circling out and catching angles, and he's going to make Henderson pay every single time he wants to go for a shot, and forcing Ben Henderson to stand up with him, which I believe is a negative for Ben Henderson. So I have Frankie Edgar winning this one. He's not going to knock him out. I believe he's going to win by unanimous decision, and he's going to stay champion. So, guys, let me know what you guys think of who's going to win what in UFC 144. I really appreciate you guys looking at my videos. I hope you appreciate the editing and stuff that I'm going to do to it. And let me know what you guys think of the new format of the videos. As normal, please rate, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys on the review of UFC 144. Peace.